Hey guys, Chris here. In today's video, I want to talk about a car I absolutely think Volvo should build, and that's the car I call the Volvo XC90R. But before we proceed with the video, I know a lot of you guys who are watching aren't subscribed, so please go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. It really helps me a lot. I really do appreciate it, and I'm really trying to hit that 10,000 subscriber mark before the summer is over. And if you like these type of videos, please go ahead and click that like button down below. That really means the world to me, guys. So to today's video, the Volvo XC90R. And why am I calling it the XC90R instead of something like the XC90 engineered by Polestar? Well, Polestar is now its own separate electric brand that are going to build electric vehicles. Volvo are still going to build hybrid and gas hybrid, diesel hybrid vehicles, and also electric vehicles. But Polestar isn't just a performance variant of Volvo's anymore. It's its own separate brand, and I think, you know, interchanging that badging between the two brands, well, that confuses people. So I think Volvo should use the R badging, because Volvo have heritage with the R badging going back to the 90s and the 2000s. So it's just, well, a smart thing to do to just carry on that R heritage. Today, the top of the range XC90 is the T8, which has a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged and supercharged gasoline engine in the front, and supplemented by an 87 horsepower electric motor and an 11.6 kilowatt hour battery in the middle, giving this car somewhere in the ballpark of 390 to 420 horsepower, depending on what market, depending on if you get it with or without the Polestar optimization. So, but around 400 horsepower. Volvo could easily build an XC90R, and well, I have actually done a render of what I think it could look like. And before we go into details and talk about the competition, I want to show you guys, this is what I've, well, rendered. This is basically an XC90 T8R design, which I've given a different front fascia. So the lower bumper is different. It's from the Polestar one, just widened and made a bit taller to fit with the SUV proportions. I think it fits here amazingly. I think it looks awesome. If Volvo aren't going to make this body kit and make an XC90R, I think somebody should do that. There must be, you know, a tuner or a styling company out there somewhere that, well, could make this. That would be totally awesome. I've also made the wheel arches wider, as you can see, in the front and in the rear. Not by much, but just a little, a subtle change to give it that wider and more muscular stance. I've also carried over the Polestar wheels from the XC60 Polestar engineered, and I think if Volvo actually do make these R models, and I've actually done a previous video, check it out up there in the right corner, of the XC40R, and talking more about the R history and also performance history of performance Volvos. But I think they would carry over those wheels, because Polestar aren't using them. They have only been used on Volvo Polestar versions. So I think, well, these wheels people do like, and I think they look awesome on Volvos. And also given it a side skirt, which is a bit wider than the original R design. So not big changes, just small subtle changes, but I think the combination of all the changes, well, results in something that looks really cool, a bit more special than an XC90 R design, and I think it looks badass, to be honest, guys. So I'm going to look at my notes for this next section, because I have a lot of numbers. I'm going to talk about the competition, and let's talk about the XC90 T8. That starts at $73,000, so that's our basis. So Audi have the SQ7. The performance version of the Q7 has 500 horsepower from a 4-liter twin-turbo V8, does 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds, and costs $85,000. That's $13,000 more than the T8 variant of the XC90. Well, it comes with better performance, no doubt in my mind. And we also have the X5M50i, which comes with a 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8 with 523 horsepower. That car does 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds and costs $82,000. So $9,000 more than the XC90 T8. And then we have the X5M, which has the same displacement, just a different variant of that 4.4 liter twin turbo V8, pumps out 600 horsepower to 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds, but costs $105,000, more than $30,000 more than the XC90 T8. Then Mercedes has the AMG GLE 53, which has a 3 liter straight inline 6 with a mild hybrid attached to that. Has 429 horsepower to 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds and costs $73,000. For reference, the XC90 does 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds also and costs $73,000. So it's similar priced and in performance to that mild hybrid from Mercedes, but the Volvo XC90 is a plug-in hybrid, so it has an advantage over that. And then we have the highest performance version of the AMG GLE, and that is the AMG GLE 63S, which has 603 horsepower to 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, but costs $113,000, $40,000 more. So the theme here is that the competition has cars that are equal to the XC90 T8, but all of them have higher performance versions. So what better thing to Volvo to do than to make a performance version of the XC90 T8? And they could do that by, well, what could they do? Well, they keep the battery pack at 11.6 kilowatt hours because we don't want to increase the weight too much. We keep the T6 based front engine with 310 to 316 horsepower, but instead of the single 87 horsepower rear electric motor, we take the two 109 horsepower each electric motors from the Polestar 1. This won't add much weight. These electric motors aren't heavy. I think in total we're talking 30-40 kilos at most, so 70-80 pounds. That's not a lot, but we get 218 horsepower on the rear axle. So combined with that front engine, we're talking 528 horsepower. That gives it more than the SQ7, but less than the top variants of these SUVs. So the GLE 63 has more horsepower, the X5 has more power, the X5M has more horsepower, but it will have more similar horsepower to the X5M50i, and also a similar 0 to 60 time and more horsepower than the SQ7. So I would peg this at around 4.2 seconds, 4.3 seconds, 0 to 60. Volvo don't need to be the quickest. BMW, well, are the best at that game, but they only have to be competitive. So we're talking about an SUV with 528 horsepower, 0 to 60 in the low fours, and I think Volvo could price this at around $85,000, so a bit more than the BMW, but the same as the SQ7. Yes, it will still have the 4-cylinder motor, but I think buyers in this price range and buying this type of car, maybe buyers in this price range will be sensitive to that, but Volvo buyers are used to this 4-cylinder motor at this point, and I don't think they would be too sensitive about it, because you would get the only plug-in hybrid in this class. I think this is a very cool and interesting proposition. Volvo could do this quite easily, take the rear electric motors from the Polestar 1, the rest is the same, give it more sporty suspension, of course different interior bits, special wheels, and a different exterior body kit, price it at $85,000, you'll have a performance Volvo. The XC90R would be an awesome and cool car, guys. So I think if it looks anything like this, I would most definitely put it on my shopping list. It would be a cooler alternative to many of the Germans. So guys, what do you think? Would you spend $85,000 on an XC90R with more than 500 horsepower, a large 7-seat SUV that does 0 to 60 in the low fours? I most definitely would. That would be a very cool vehicle. So let me know in the comments down below. So if you like this video, please drop me a thumbs up down below. And for more car content, as always guys, please subscribe. See you guys later and goodbye.